Australia's tallest lighthouse. Always look at the histogram of the image, as all tonal values are bunched into the centre of same. Consider adjusting the levels of the image, which will result in tones being extended outwards from the centre, and add some contrast. I suggest you try converting it to monochrome. See my image for suggested edits. No award. Double dragon. Sorry, I do not understand this image. One of the most important facts within an image is it must tell a story, and the viewer must know what to look at. No award. Japanese anemone. Flowers make great subjects. I suggest you consider learning focus stacking, which would give you a better result. The colours within your image are very good. The background flower is blurred, which gives dominance to the foreground. Please keep going with these subjects. No award. Oatlands Mill. This is a well-lit subject showing detail in the subject. When framing the subject in the camera, try to include all of the subject, i.e. in this case part of the top blade is not included. Also, I find the building on the bottom right hand side is a bit of a distraction, e.g. perhaps cloned out. No award. Peacock feather veil. The peacock is the subject in this image, and by cropping the image as I have, then the bird is enlarged within the frame. Also, when framing the subject, please leave more space around the bird, i.e. bottom right hand side. See my image for suggested edits. No award. Spring is in the air. A lovely image. I suggest you add more contrast. In your image, the blue sky dominates the scene. I suggest you lighten the sky. See my image for suggested edits. No award. Afternoon tea. Tighten up on the image sides. The subject is very sharp with beautiful colours, well taken. See my image for suggested edits. Acceptance. Bathurst Harbour 1. A good image. May I suggest you consider converting it to monochrome? A good sky and clouds, no detail in the foreground, and acceptance. Flinders Island number 3. The foreground rocks create a good leading line into the image. However, they dominate the scene. I suggest you consider cropping the foreground rocks, placing the same in the bottom diagonal corners, which still lead the viewer into the image. It makes a more panoramic look rather than vertical. See my image for suggested edits and acceptance. Flinders Island number 2. Again, the large foreground rock dominates. The small rock on the left-hand side bottom is a bit of a distraction. I suggest to crop the leading line and also lighten the clouds. I also suggest a panorama should be considered with the viewer having a good leading line into the image. Well done on both. See my image for suggested edits and acceptance. Leader of the pack. The house is a distraction. I suggest you crop out the last rider and the house and add contrast to the image. The riders look excellent on the diagonal. Well captured. A good action shot. See my image for suggested edits and acceptance. Night reflections. A very good effort. There is too much noise in the sky, and I suggest you crop down from the top and also lighten the trees. Well done. See my image for suggested edits and acceptance. Omphalitus nidiformis. A great subject. However, the front section is not sharp. It would be a perfect subject for focus stacking, which would result in a total image being sharp. Consider a square format. See my image for suggested edits and acceptance. Ring of Fire. An excellent capture with great colours. I suggest you consider cropping the bottom rocks, giving a more panoramic image. There appears to be too many foreground rocks in this image. See my image for suggested edits and acceptance. Sunset over the harbour. Well captured with lovely colours and great reflections. Well done and acceptance. The chase. A good effort. I must comment that the leading bird appears too far out in front. Sometimes it pays to forget must have odd numbers, etc. And I would also suggest to work with the other two birds that are in focus. See my image for suggested edits and acceptance. The Netley break. A great action shot. I suggest you consider cropping in tighter, but still having the subject coming into the image. See my image for a suggested edit and acceptance. Train tracks. Well composed with a leading line having the rails taking the viewer through the image. The image is very green on my monitor. Well done and acceptance. Yeah, they were all yellow. A lovely coloured image. I suggest the subject is too tight in the frame, particularly on the sides. Continue taking images of flowers, which are great subjects. Well taken and acceptance. Adrenaline rush. A great action shot, well captured. Very sharp. Well done. I highly commended. Bellandina Montana. Well captured and framed. The composition is good and the colours complementing within the image. Well done. I highly commended. Prince's Pier. Well captured with excellent colour throughout the image. Very effective sunset and clouds. Highly commended. Scaparia in flower. A well captured scene with beautiful colours throughout. A great landscape with foreground, midground and background. Highly commended. Defending. A great action shot. and perfectly placed in the frame. Well taken. Merit. Welcome home. A delightful image showing detail in the foreground and also into the property. The open gate is an invitation for the viewer to enter the property. Well framed and good composition with beautiful colouring. Well done. Merit. An apple a day. A beautiful capture of detail within the bird. Be careful of half a tail, hence I would suggest to tighten the bottom line. Should do well in nature sections. See my image for a suggested edit. Honours. Eagle eye. Another great bird image which has been well captured. It's pin sharp. Consider leaving more room on the left-hand side if possible. Honours. Kite nest builder. I suggest lightening the sky as the blue dominates the image. I also suggest to lighten the bird to show texture, then add a small amount of contrast. An excellent image. Congratulations. Honours. The flying flea. This is a lovely image and so well taken. It's perfectly placed in the frame with room for the subject to ride into the image. It fits perfectly into human interest theme of photojournalism. Congratulations. Honours. Waiting for a rider. A lot of thought went into this image. The composition is spot on with great colours. An excellent image. Congratulations. Honours. Bathurst Harbour 2. I see this image as a happy snap rather than a competition entry. Only part of the boat is shown and the driver is too far to the right-hand side. No award. Crystal cabinet. A very interesting subject. Just watch to include all of the subject, e.g. no half plates. There is insufficient contrast. No award. Curry fishing fleet. As I look at this image, it is an image to remind the photographer of a scene where very little jumps out. There is no detail in the sky or the water. May I suggest to crop all around the image and emphasise the boats. I would also add more contrast between blacks and whites. See my image for suggested edits. No award. Looking out. A good attempt. There is too much interior wall with no detail. The main interest is looking out of the window. I find there is insufficient contrast, but please keep going and watch framing a subject. No award. Luca. For me, this image is too soft and has insufficient detail. With more detail and better contrast, this would be an image to frame as it is an excellent subject. I would encourage the photographer to try again. No award. A new day dawns. A good, interesting image showing the reflection. Good contrast, but be cautious of the sky, clouds in particular, which appear to have no detail, with white tones being burnt out. And acceptance. Breaking through. A good composition with an interesting subject, but it needs more contrast. And acceptance. Checking my status. A good composition that tells an interesting story. It has good elements, but it needs more contrast. See my image for suggested edits. And acceptance. Evening fishing. An interesting subject, but there is no interest in the top left-hand side. I suggest you tighten the crop, left-hand side, and place the pier upright in the left-hand diagonal. Add some contrast. Well done. See my image for suggested edits and acceptance. Fire ghosts. Well captured and a good composition and story. There is good contrast that emphasises the tree. Well done. And acceptance. National Park. A good image with good contrast. Be conscious of highlight tonal value to avoid burnout. May I suggest you raise the bottom line to just under the fern? Well done. And acceptance. The Mersey on the Huon. A great subject and good composition. Good to see the boat going into the frame. Raise the bottom line as there is no detail in the reeds. The image needs more contrast. See my image for a suggested edit and acceptance. Twisted limbs. Well seen with interesting textures. A good composition. I would like to see more contrast between the colours. Well done. And acceptance. Wet. An interesting subject. If you look at the histogram, the image has very little contrast. By adding contrast, you will increase the white tones. I suggest you crop the slate 4 and place the right-hand wall into the lower right-hand diagonal. Also crop out the left-hand dark wall. See my image for suggested edits and acceptance. Wipeout. A good action shot with good contrast. Well done and acceptance. Under the jetty. The image has great detail showing under the jetty. There is a leading line under the jetty. However, the question is leading to where in the image? I suggest you crop both sides of the image and then place the jetty ends into both diagonals. Well done, and I encourage you to keep going. A merit. Weathered pine. A good composition and subject. Well captured, and it tells a story. There needs to be more contrast to give the image more punch. Well done. See my image for a suggested edit. A merit. A serious matter. Well captured, and the image tells a story. A good composition. Honours. Aiden 1. An excellent action shot and well captured. It's great to see the horse on the diagonal and an image with good contrast. A minor comment, there is only part of the racket showing. Well done, honours. Bandicoot. Well captured and placed on the diagonal in frame. Great detail. Honours. Contested scoop. An excellent action shot with great contrast. Excellent composition and story. Honours. The Travelling Man. A good image that has been well captured. It's well balanced and has a sharp focus. One concern though, I would have liked to have seen the top half of the cap. Well done, honours.